This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
Oh my God!
Welcome, everybody, to the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. This is episode 66. This is our pre-Royal Rumble episode. You know you're going to get your predictions on the Royal Rumble here. Also, news and notes. Adam, one of our Twitter followers, had a special request. I tried to honor that. We're going to get around to that a little bit later on. Of course, we're going to review Raw and SmackDown. I think we both agree, awful go-home shows. So one happened to be slightly better than the other. Doing it with me, as always. It can't be me without him. It is the Doc, John Macaroon. I feel like I should introduce you as my Lebanese counterpart.
I can't wait to talk about wrestling this week. Holy cow, man. I definitely watched the go-home shows expecting a lot more. I'm like, really? Seriously? The change really is just adding Vince McMahon to more segments? That's really the change.
That's what it is.
It's highly disappointing. Raw was probably one of the worst shows I've watched. Probably worse than the one that got booed off the planet 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago or so, whenever that was. I was so disappointed in Raw in that you have all this creativity. You got all these writers, and then you have like a 35-minute segment to open the show. Seriously, you have this promo that goes on and on and on and on. And again, what are people saying? Change it up. Do something different. And yes, you're doing things differently with the promos, but this Raw was probably one where there wasn't really one redeeming quality outside of the fact that, okay, you now know what's going to happen at the Royal Rumble. You now have more of an idea of the feuds elevating, but it didn't do enough. If you weren't going to watch the Royal Rumble, I don't think this show brought any more heat to it. I thought the show was terrible. I don't understand why this show was put together this way, especially opening the show with a ridiculously long promo.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either. I thought overall the show was garbage, and you're right. The big change is just adding Vince McMahon to just about everything now. Like WWE, whenever the ratings fall, they're like, you know what? Let's just throw Vince out there to get a quick pop. And that's really what this has been.
And even when the crowd was doing the what thing to Vince, he didn't really play off of it that well. He just kind of kept powering through it. Yeah. And I'm like, I feel like in order for these shows to get better, the crowd has to do more work shitting on the segments. Mm-hmm. They just have to let people in and they just have to scream and drown out whatever's going on because the promos are long and ridiculous. And I'm just like, seriously, it's not really anything out of the ordinary. It wasn't really unique to much, right?
Yeah, there wasn't, with this show, there really wasn't anything where you're like, wow, we got to talk about that. There really wasn't. I mean, we opened with a huge long promo. I don't really think it helped build towards the Brock Lesnar-Finn Balor match. I mean, Finn looked really good in it, but that was all you could really take out of this. That was really it. You know, Finn ended up fighting Braun Strowman, and he ended up beating up Brock Lesnar a little bit. In the end, Brock stood tall. No big deal here, right? And after that, there really wasn't a whole else that I feel like we need to dissect or talk about from Raw. I think the biggest thing that you got out of this was you had a moment of bliss, which was her little promo segment, and this was much later on in all of Raw, where she announces that she's going to be getting back in the ring. She's going to be competing in the Royal Rumble. So obviously she has been cleared from her concussions because that's what she's been dealing with now for almost 6 months, maybe 8 months. And Lacey Evans is getting into it. Okay, cool. Thanks, Lacey Evans. You exist. You know, they've done a real bad job with their call-ups even.
And now look what you've done. Last week, you have a great Sentinel moment. You give Bobby Lashley the IC belt.
Yeah.
And you have this great coronation, but you don't have him really do much on a mic. You have him do a flex-off with Apollo Crews. And now Mikey from the Breaking Down the Ring podcast, he loved the segment saying you got to highlight Apollo Crews. Fine. And I replied back to him. I said, okay, I can understand that you want him to have more time and more of a spotlight, but in a flex off where he looks ridiculous, he looks stupid, he looks like a character. And I said, you know what? For me, if you want to get him over, have him win. He then gets squashed in a match by Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, how does this elevating Apollo Crews? You could at least have him do a stare down and be serious. You know what? Actually, you want to elevate Apollo Crews? You have him, destroy Bobby Lashley and say, "You're next. You're next, bitch. You're up. Your time's up." Something.
You know how you do it? Because you have Leo Rush, and Leo Rush he's a bumping manager, is what he is. And he's a guy who can wrestle. You've seen it in their match with between Apollo Crews and Bobby Lashley. He did a couple spots. What you do is you have Apollo Crews beat up Leo Rush to then set up some type of heat between him and Bobby Lashley. That's what you don't have them come out and you don't have them pose for what was 15 minutes. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I want to watch big dudes pose, I'll go watch Mr. Olympia. Believe me, I'm way more into bodybuilding than I probably should be. So I know these dudes by first name. Go watch Generation Iron. Seriously, it's great. It's on Netflix. Go watch it. Go watch 1, go watch 2. They're coming out with 3. It's incredible. Go watch it. You'll see what these guys really go through and what these guys do. Not what Bobby Lashley's out here doing. I thought Bobby Lashley winning the IC belt last week was awesome. I thought it was a good way to give a guy who deserves a belt and help elevate guys in the mid-card. Then you come out this week and you have a pose-off? This was stupid. This was dumb. This was bad booking. On top of that, Apollo Crews is a guy who is extremely athletic. For a big guy who is that jacked, he's extremely athletic. Yet, you put him in bad booking spots like this? This was horrible.
And you can understand why now there are rumblings that a lot of wrestlers want their release.
Oh, a ton of them do.
They have to want to, because if you're the Revival, how would you want to stay in this? Where you realize you're probably one of the elite tag teams. Now, you don't get a situation where you get a benefit of a disqualification. You're putting over Bobby Roode and Chad Gable when you're clearly the better tag team and you're in angles that no one really cares about. I mean, look, Gallows and Anderson, where'd they go? They disappeared again. They haven't been featured on anything. And you realize, okay, you're bringing in a bunch of new guys, but all you're doing is pushing out the old guys and then probably having a bunch more characters that people don't care about. Heavy Machinery was a cool debut, but the crowd it wasn't received like the way it was. I think you needed to debut them on a crowd that usually is more hot. I think the crowd was Oklahoma City. I don't think that they were into this all that much, and I just feel like the show Raw in and of itself was a waste of 3 hours.
Where it was placed, this was not where it needed to be placed.
Right.
This is a tag match where you could have had them come out, done something different, maybe done something earlier in the show. You're going to put them near the third hour of Raw.
And what was up with
everybody's dying?
What was up with Raw being a tag team fest? Was everybody tired? It was horrible. So many tag team matches. The Moment of Bliss with all the women didn't really excite me all that much. And then you had the main event where you're like, oh, it was okay, but it didn't do much for me. Where you have Sasha Banks, slapping on a bank statement on Natty for a big tag team win. It just wasn't all that great. And like I said, I think it's just time to move on from Raw. A big thumbs down. You don't even have to Hulu it. It's just not much. Read the reports and keep it moving.
Guys, don't even waste your time.
It was garbage.
Don't waste your time.
It was bad.
It was not good. Raw or SmackDown, on the other hand, was marginally better.
Yeah.
I think it opened better because that crowd was so Becky Lynch.
Yes.
Like, Becky Lynch opens the show with a promo, and it gets interrupted by Asuka, and they were really pro Asuka, and then they were really pro Becky Lynch, and then Charlotte comes down, which I thought Charlotte being added to all this was just a complete and utter waste in a mess.
I'll say this. Charlotte in black makeup, probably not the best with black lipstick. No, yeah, I saw that. I was like, her outfit was tight, but it needed like pink or red. I was
she looked like a weird goth queen. It was not good.
Yeah.
But I think this was a hot segment because of Becky Lynch and because of Asuka. You did not need to demean what they were doing by inserting Charlotte. I thought Charlotte being added to this did nothing for it. If you want to have Asuka and you want to have Becky scrap, just let them fight out there. Just let them brawl with each other, because it was a really good brawl. I thought the brawl really set up nicely. I mean, you did have Asuka screaming like Asuka does unintelligibly, which I absolutely hate. Do you have that? Can you do that for me again? Where you scream,
Asuka, Asuka's here.
It's so bad. It drives me nuts.
You will not defeat Asuka.
But they brawled really, really well, and that helped set and add some fuel for the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. So I thought this segment did its job. I don't think Charlotte needed to be inserted in it, but other than that, I don't know. I mean,
Did you like
the main event was good. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like I'm grasping for straws here.
Yeah.
I'm grasping.
Did you like Mandy Rose going over on Naomi?
Like, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I was surprised.
Yeah, I was too.
I was watching this, and my sister was in the room, and I was like, oh, Mandy Rose just beat Naomi.
right.
Shocked. And my sister was like, who? What are you doing? And I was like, wrestling. And she was like, why? And I was like, we do it for the show, baby. We do it for the podcast.
Now, in one of the segments, I think that definitely elevated their feud. The Miz and Shane McMahon got destroyed by the bar.
Yes.
That's how you elevate a feud. One team goes over on the other, and in a way that makes it so you're like, oh, how are the Miz and Shane going to reply and respond on the Royal Rumble? So that was awesome. I thought the whole matchup setup was perfect. You have the Miz get destroyed. You have the teaser a little bit. I think that was good in that, Shane McMahon climbs up to the top and you're like, oh, he's going to do it again. He's going to destroy it. And then he gets pushed off. And then it goes into a full-on destruction of the Miz and Shane McMahon. Perfect segment.
I thought this was good storytelling.
Probably one of the better segments of the week.
Did a good job. I mean, look, Shane McMahon doesn't need to be in the ring, right? I don't think any one of us make any bones about it. He's not very good.
Right.
This was a good job to help elevate this feud, help build it up. I thought they did a really good job here. The two of them getting just absolutely destroyed. And the Miz sold this so well. There was a point on the outside where the Miz goes out there to cover Shane McMahon to prevent him from getting pummeled by Cesaro and by Sheamus. He's basically taking one for the team, trying to help save his tag partner, covering his limp, dead body with his own limp, dead body. It was great. It was great. This was awesome. This was a really good spot on SmackDown.
Now, the highlight of Raw for me was the commercial that said Vince McMahon was going to moderate Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. I was like, I'm excited. I can't wait for SmackDown. Now it plays out.
And then you got it.
And it was disappointing.
Did you want to give it back?
I wanted to give it back.
I wanted to return on my money.
I didn't want to see the commercial anymore.
No, exactly.
I was like, no, I was disappointed. It was more talking, more of the same. AJ goes over a little bit, but I thought it could be a lot more. I thought you could have had a bunch more segments. And I just basically, the way I look at it is, I kind of wanted the feeling I've been getting by watching Rey Mysterio matches versus Andrade, and I wanted to see it with AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, but it fell short. I wasn't happy at all. And having Vince didn't really add much flavor to it, other than he was used by Daniel Bryan as a shield when AJ was going to do the phenomenal forearm. And obviously, when Daniel Bryan did his move, it was botched too. It wasn't crisp or clean too. So it wasn't. It was disappointing and a major letdown. Especially, obviously the matches are going to be great. I don't have any doubt that the match will be great, but the lead-ups are also part of the feud. And I think the lead-up, AJ Styles and Daniel Bryan, has just been massively disappointing. Massively.
It's not been put together well.
No.
It's
like they know these guys are going to wrestle well. It's whatever it is, whatever it is. Right?
We'll just throw it all together.
Yep.
It's not been done well. And Vince McMahon being like your upset stepdad, get in this room and clean this up, was not cool. It was really trivial. It didn't do anything to the segment. Didn't really help. Now, Samoa Joe and his ongoing feud with Mustafa Ali, these matches have been entertaining. More because they're brutal. Like
Yes.
they're not like bad brutal. They're like physical brutal. Like Samoa Joe beating the tar out of Mustafa Ali. At some point, I just want to help Mustafa Ali. Be like, dude, it's gonna be okay. Like, you don't need to keep sacrificing your body. It's gonna be okay. Now, Mustafa Ali gets his work in, and Mustafa Ali looks good. But Samoa Joe is so physical in these segments with Ali. You're just like, holy hell. Like, is he going to break him into pieces? I thought this was another decent match. I thought this was good. I thought it was more good storytelling that is leading towards the Royal Rumble.
We have to see where this goes for Samoa Joe, because you can't keep elevating a monster
Yes.
and having him lose title matches.
Exactly.
So it's good to see him elevated again. This is the second push that he's gotten. It's done well, but where's it going to end up leading? That's what we're all going to wonder.
This is so good because over the course of the last couple weeks, it really has me sitting there like, is he a viable candidate to win the Royal Rumble? And I'm like, I kind of want to put some eggs in the Samoa Joe basket. But like, I'm not sure, because you see what happens to it. Either he gets injured or they smack him back down. And no pun intended, they smack him back down. So this led to the main event, which I think
Wow.
we both agree.
The first two falls were awesome.
Yes.
What do you call that? A super power bomb where Andrade picks up Rey Mysterio and picks him up and then jumps off the rope and slams him? I was like, wow.
It was
awesome.
so good.
I was impressed.
These two have had incredible matches. back-to-back weeks.
Awesome.
And
it's great to see because that's what we're all looking for. Now, how did the ending affect what you thought of the match? Because then you have Samoa Joe ruin it and there's no finish. Both Andrade and Rey Mysterio get a fall. And then,
by the way,
Samoa Joe interrupts.
Rey's was spectacular as well. It was like a reverse spike pile driver.
Yeah.
Awesome. Both of these guys got that quick falls.
They got their shit in.
Yes. It was absolutely incredible to watch these two guys work with each other.
Keep it going, baby.
Outstanding matches.
Yes.
And then Samoa Joe comes out of nowhere.
Destroys them.
Destroys everybody.
And then you get Randy Orton. That was nice.
So, okay, here's my thing, right? Samoa Joe comes out and interrupts this match and destroys both Andrade and Rey Mysterio in what was the match of the night. And for me, this was the match of the week.
By far.
It was incredible. Go watch this match. It was freaking awesome.
It started at 9:34, and you weren't disappointed. Even with commercials, it was great.
It was great. And Samoa Joe comes out, and I'm like, what the hell? I was like, you just tarnished a great match. But Randy Orton comes from out of nowhere.
Yeah, there's Randy Orton.
And hits an RKO.
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a second. This just kind of took some of that dirty taste in my mouth out. Like, I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, Samoa Joe interrupting it, I was like, oh, man, this is some BS. And then Randy Orton comes out, and I was like, I get it. Like, I get it. You're pushing towards the Royal Rumble. I get it. I'm still not upset that you ruined what was a great match, but I got it. And I thought it was done well enough. This is my match of the week. Go watch this. Overall, I thought SmackDown was a superior show to Raw. I don't think it was great by any shakes of a stick. But I thought it was good, and I thought it did a more of a decent job building you towards what is coming this Sunday. Are you excited for Sunday at all?
No.
Me neither.
I'm not really excited for it. I can't even watch it live. I mean, it's 4 hours. I'm going to be in Kalahari. I'm going to be doing some family stuff Sunday, Monday. So I'm going to watch it eventually. Hopefully they got good Wi-Fi. I'm going to watch it probably like from 11 p.m. to like 3 a.m. I'll stay up a little bit. But no, I'm not excited. I would be excited if there was going to be a debut of somebody, if it's going to be maybe an Omega or somebody unique. Maybe they're going to debut somebody. But it just seems to me like this is another pay-per-view where it's supposed to be something way more than what it's actually going to be. And it's just going to be probably predictable, more of the same. And I don't see a whole heck of a lot of surprises, but we could all be wrong. I do think that, like I said, they promised us the reset, but I don't see where it's coming from. And I'm not excited, at least from the build-up. It's going to be more of the same. Obviously, you're going to see people from the past show up at the Rumble. You're going to see maybe one surprise person. But I just think that at the end of the day, I think who is going to remain in the top four in each Rumble is going to be pretty predictable. I just think that it's going to be the top end people, and I just don't see a lot of surprising aspects, so that's why I'm not into it. I mean, for a 4-hour pay-per-view, I don't know. I don't see it. They didn't do a good enough job building it up.
No, at all. This is one of those Royal Rumbles where I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. I'll be honest with you. As Raw and SmackDown were unfolding, I was like, oh, damn, it is this Sunday, isn't it?
Royal Rumble,
I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, they've done such a piss-poor job building this up and really getting me invested. I'm just kind of like...
Mustafa Ali's not winning the Royal Rumble. We know that. You're not going to have EC3 win it. You're not going to have somebody that's out of the ordinary win it. You're not going to have Kevin Owens come and win it. I don't think that's going to happen. So it's just going to be something where I think my prediction will probably be close to 80% accurate, I hope. We'll see.
We'll see. All that being said... We've given you which match you need to go watch. It was the main event of SmackDown. It is Rey Mysterio versus Andrade Cien Almas.
The verdict is...
It was awesome.
SmackDown's the winner.
Exactly.
By far.
SmackDown takes a 5-point lead here. Or no, 15-point lead.
Yeah.
Wow, 15?
15.
Holy shit.
They've done a lot better show.
42.5 to 27.5.
Yeah.
Wow. That's nuts. This is why I don't do math. This is why I do sports, because I can't add.
Now, I do want to answer a question from Adam, super fan of the podcast. He's wondering when Boring Corbin's contract is going to end. So I did look it up. Now, we're speculating. We don't exactly know. But he debuted in NXT in 2012.
Yes.
And so if you can speculate a little bit, maybe he signed, if you want to speculate, probably he signed a 1-year or 2-year developmental deal, so 2012, 2013. And then usually from what I sense of what these guys are doing, they're usually signing 3-year deals. So if you assume that maybe he signed in 2012 and 2013, and then you say 14, 15, 16 are 3-year contracts, 17, 18, 19, I'm thinking that his contract's probably going to be up in 19 or 20 if he's signing 3-year deals. Now, it could be more. I'm assuming these guys are being asked to sign a series of 3 and 4 year deals. So I think his time is coming, but not as close or as soon as you would like. Yes, boring Corbin is not doing much. He's been held back.
Yeah, I had a lot of difficulty trying to track down the exact
It's not information that's really read unless they're up.
Unless it's a monster star, right?
Yeah.
Like almost everybody has an idea.
Yeah.
Nothing is 100%. Everybody has an idea of what Brock Lesnar's contract is. Everybody knows when AJ Styles' contract's expired.
Yeah, that's when it comes up. Is when, like a guy like Dolph Ziggler, he's been offered another contract and he's turned it down.
He's turned it down.
That's how this stuff gets out.
Right.
So sorry, Adam, but it's close enough. I think he's going to be around for a little bit.
Yeah, you're looking at least another 8 months, maybe a year, I want to say, for Baron Corbin. And again, this is speculation. I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to get this information. WWE does not make this readily available at all for anybody.
And they probably don't want to. Now they're probably viewing AEW as, oh God, here we go, because now we got to pay guys more.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
That's how they have to look at it.
That's part of the reason why we'll talk about it in news and notes. Yeah. Everybody wants the release because AEW is doing a ton with giving these guys really good contracts. They don't have to work as much.
Yeah.
They're dollar-wise, they're very valuable.
They're open for business.
Yeah, especially if you're an elite talent or you're a guy who's kind of top end or you're a WWE guy.
Leverage time.
Exactly.
It's a good time to be a wrestler.
It is. It's absolutely crazy. All right, let's get into our Royal Rumble predictions.
Here we go.
All right. So
this could be really great or really awful. Here we go.
So Buddy Murphy is taking on Akira Tozawa and Kalisto and Hideo Itami. It is a fatal 4-way for the Cruiserweight champion. Who are you taking?
Give me the champ, baby. I think Buddy Murphy, it's still too soon to take it off of him. If it was going to be somebody else, it's obviously not going to be Kalisto. It might be Hideo Itami, but I think right now Buddy Murphy is having a great reign. Keep it on him. Buddy Murphy retains, and this is probably going to be on the pre-show.
Yes, it'll probably be pre-show. I think Buddy Murphy wins this. Don't be surprised if you see Kushida get involved in this. Kushida is new. He's coming from New Japan. Don't be surprised if somehow he gets involved in this match some way, somehow, but I think Buddy Murphy retains. All right, The Bar versus The Miz and Shane McMahon. Now, this is for the SmackDown Tag Team Championships. Who do you see winning this?
See, this one I'm so conflicted when I saw it on the sheet because if you're going to set up the WrestleMania situation where The Miz is going to take on Shane, you probably have him lose. Or you heighten it and you then have him win now and then potentially break up
like
in
a double
match.
Cross later on?
No, yeah, where they win now, but the breakup doesn't happen right away. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think one of the first title changes is going to take place is for the interest of that matchup, if that's where they're going, Miz versus Shane McMahon at Mania. You got to have it mean more, and I think it means more if they were to win the championship and then lose it. So give me the Miz and Shane McMahon taking the titles.
They just got annihilated on SmackDown. Just annihilated. And you're right. I think at some point you're going to have Shane versus The Miz because of the way that they were just manhandled on SmackDown. I think they win this as well. I think The Miz and I believe Shane McMahon get the W here. And again, I think this sets up for future storytelling. I don't think it's because of anything where they're that much more over on the bar. I just think the way things have played out, it makes sense for The Miz and Shane McMahon to get a W here and get the championship belt.
How do you have a SmackDown, a go-home show without Rusev and Shinsuke being heavily featured?
I don't know.
It's only the U.S. title.
Right. It's just one of your big four, right?
Damn.
I have no idea. Who wins this, Rusev or Nakamura?
I don't see a scenario in which Nakamura wins it. I think he cheats.
Yeah.
But I think potentially speaking, it's another opportunity for Rusev to show how awesome he is. So give me Rusev.
I'm locked in on Rusev as well. When I seen this, I was like, how are you going to put this back on Nakamura?
Yeah, didn't make no sense.
Doesn't
No.
make any sense
Rusev needs a
whatsoever.
push. Nope.
Hopefully this is the blow off and we're done with this.
Yeah,
feud.
yeah.
I mean, Rusev needs to go on and do better things, and I think Nakamura has to go on and do more as well. Ronda Rousey versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship.
I think it's a tough spot because Sasha deserves to be elevated, but I don't see a scenario in which Ronda loses it because you would kill the main event potentially or co-main event of Mania. So give me Ronda Rousey in a destructive match. I think it's going to be great, but I think, boom, it'll be back and forth. Sasha will have her chance to win, but in the end, Ronda gets the armbar and bam, wins it quickly out of nowhere. Armbar out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm in lockstep with you, right? What would be the point of Sasha winning this? She deserves it, and I think she's a credible challenger for Ronda Rousey, And you can make the argument that she could win this. I just don't know why she would win this. If storytelling-wise, it does no good to put the belt on her. I think this is going to be a great match, and I think Rousey ends up the winner here. I don't know. I don't know how this works. Look, every time Ronda has been put in a spot, she has risen to the occasion. She's going in there with one of the best in the business with Sasha Banks. I think Ronda Rousey wins this. Could you see Bayley possibly getting involved? Because that would then help spin off the next story for Sasha.
That'd be great.
I could see that happening, but I think Rousey wins this match. All right, so now you have Asuka versus Becky Lynch for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Who wins this?
If we're gonna set up the dream matchup, obviously you gotta have Ronda Rousey being the champ on one side and Becky Lynch being the champ on the other. And I think you just give Asuka the belt at this point in time to validate the year that she had, to kind of allow Becky Lynch to fight for something. But if you're gonna set it up properly, I don't think that you would want to set it up where Becky doesn't have a belt. Belt versus belt is definitely shiny in a hyped main event potential at WrestleMania. So give me Becky Lynch, new champ.
I'm going with Becky Lynch as well. I don't necessarily understand why Asuka got it. Like I know Vince really liked how the crowd was into her and they popped hard for her. I don't know why you took it off Becky. Becky is the best thing in wrestling right now. All promotions. New Japan. I love New Japan. Best thing in wrestling, Becky Lynch. Best thing in WWE, Becky Lynch. Best thing in AEW right now, it's Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch is better than everything going right now. The way the crowd was so hot on her on Tuesday night, there is no reason she does not come out the SmackDown Women's Champion.
Or you could have the ultimate revenge and have Ronda continue to cost her matches, and you have Asuka and somebody else that wins the Rumble go down that road. But I don't think that's the best.
If you do that, I don't think that
shouldn't be V1.
That's terrible. Shitty storytelling.
Exactly. I think they both have to have a belt to market that match if you want to put it in a main event, because that's what they're talking. Yeah. So if you don't, it'd be stupid. It would really be probably one of the dumber decisions you could make.
All right, Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor.
Okay, now I'm going to play this because this led to probably the most intriguing question. Putty got in on a voicemail at 248-579-8686, and it's really interesting because we'll talk about it.
Hey guys, it's Putty in Florida. Just wanted to check in. I noticed that you guys never get voicemails for the wrestling show, so I figured I'd call in with a question that was kind of crazy. I read an article on Bleacher Report, accurate or not, that quoted Finn Balor saying that he was relying too much on the Demon gimmick and doesn't plan on using it at the Rumble against Brock. Wanted to get your guys' feedback. Is that a mistake or not? I think it is. Dude, you don't take yourself too seriously. You're a pro wrestler. You're an entertainer. Entertain. And that's like one of the things people want to see most. And I just think it's kind of a case of a wrestler taking himself way too serious. You're not an Oscar award-winning actor or anything. Just want to get your guys' thoughts. Great show. Keep up the good work. Talk to you later. Go Blue.
If the Demon doesn't come out, shit on the pay-per-view. I mean, are you kidding me? Putty's point, how can Finn Balor think that he's relying too heavily on the Demon gimmick? That's your gimmick. That's what makes... obviously Finn Balor's a great wrestler, but Finn Balor has been shit on by the company. The Demon is over. The Demon is the character that's
Finn
unique.
Balor's over.
Yeah.
Finn Balor got the biggest reaction on SmackDown.
Yeah.
Or on Raw.
People want to see Finn Balor do things, but I think at this point in time, I would assume if the Demon comes out, I would more than likely assume that he's going to win the title. But to not have the Demon character come out at the big events like the Rumble, Mania, SummerSlam, that's 3 times a year. How are you over-relying on it? He has to come out. The Demon has to come out, and in this matchup, I just think that...
but do you beat the Demon? See, this is the thing,
That's
right?
the tough part.
This is the thing. Because I wanted to pose this question to you. Does the Demon make an appearance?
And then lose? No.
That's the hard part. Because I don't know if I see Brock Lesnar losing to Finn Balor.
See, but you got to have some changes, and I think and you have to have the belt be on somebody. Leading up to WrestleMania, do you want it to be the Universal title?
I've been going back and forth with myself. Does Finn Balor beat Brock Lesnar?
Demon comes out and he wins it. He wins it. It's been 2 years. Come on. It's not right, dude. When are you going to have this guy have his moment at SummerSlam?
Right.
Come on.
No.
Start it off. Let Finn Balor reclaim his title with the Demon. Start the year off with some new challenges. You could have so many Universal title situations going into WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. It has to be Demon comes out. Brock destroys it, tries to get close to winning, but in the end, Finn Balor is the new Universal Champ. You have to bring it full circle.
I like where your head's
It's common sense. You just got to go with it.
I like where your head's
have
at
to.
because I've been on the fence. I'm like, man, does Brock win this? Because I just don't know how. But then I'm watching Raw, and I'm watching how this is unfolding, and I'm watching the interaction between Vince, and I'm watching the interaction between him and Finn. And he's like, I don't believe in you, Finn. I don't believe in you. And that makes me believe that Finn Balor is going to win this.
Now, if the WWE hates their fans, the Demon will come out and Brock Lesnar will win. You get more heat on Brock, but that would be crazy.
I don't know how you kill
Things should be thrown into the ring if that
Yes.
happens. Yeah.
If Finn comes out as the Demon and you destroy the Demon,
I just want to see Finn win. I just want to see it.
too.
I think that's where it needs to go. That's where you bring the pop
I think he's
at the end of the night.
He's a credible champion.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
is.
Yes.
He's a guy who you can put your belt on.
Yeah, exactly.
And you can push him to the crowd loves him.
Exactly.
The crowd loves him.
And it
you
sets
know
up-
how I know the crowd loves him?
Yeah.
Because my wife gets wet when he comes out.
See?
Like,
And-
it's absolutely annoying.
And it sets
I
up
love it all at the
perfectly-
same time.
It sets up perfectly for my scenario. Stay tuned. And who's going to win the Rumble?
I
It
can't
sets
get
up perfectly.
I can't get my wife wet, but Finn can. It's weird.
Easy for me. Daniel Bryan's going to retain. It's just too
Damn.
early.
I was really hoping you were going AJ
No.
Styles because I was going Daniel Bryan all day.
No, it's too early.
Yeah.
You can do more with it. This is a feud that's not
Damn
going to
it.
end.
I was looking for us to be different on this one.
No, I think it's going to go. So you pick Finn Balor too?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think too.
Okay.
Yeah. Finn and
So it's going to
Finn
come
and Daniel
down.
Bryan.
It's going to come down to our Rumble picks.
It really is
should,
because
it
we've
should.
been in lockstep through this
Yeah.
entire
Yeah,
thing.
we're seeing it the same way.
All right. Who is winning? You've got
This is
30 guys to pick.
Yep. No, I'm picking the monster, man. I have to pick my guy, the guy that I've been putting over. I want to hear it, baby.
Ooh.
That's my guy. I want it. It's got to set up. Drew McIntyre, Finn Balor, WrestleMania. I'm buying it.
I like that. And
That's my guy. Drew McIntyre wins it, baby.
Wow.
I think he needs to be established. That's the perfect character.
Yeah.
I mean, he is
It
basically the Randy Orton of Monday Night Raw.
is.
He's the badass mofo. So give me Drew McIntyre. I want to see that.
I totally want to steal your pick. I totally want to steal your pick. I didn't even think about Drew Mac.
You have to because of the
I
fact
totally
that
didn't.
it's culminating in what he's been done. I mean, it's perfect scenario
Yeah.
for a guy like Drew McIntyre to win it, and then he takes on Finn Balor at WrestleMania. Perfect. I like it.
I didn't even think about Drew McIntyre winning.
Well,
it.
you're disqualified from taking him. So who are you going to take?
I can't take him now because he
Yeah,
wasn't even on my radar. I totally want to steal your pick though. I like your pick more than I like my own pick.
That's
Messed up. That's messed up. I really
because
want
I'm the
your pick.
writer in the room. I'm trying to look ahead to WrestleMania.
I
and
really-
it's got to be Finn Balor and
I
Drew
totally
McIntyre.
want to steal.
But
your
still,
pick
the odds
here.
are still low because of the fact that WWE could swerve everybody. But who do
They
you got?
totally could. I'm gonna go with Samoa Joe.
Oh,
Samoa
that's another
Joe
good option. That's a great option.
He's been destroying everybody.
That's a good option. That's a real
Everybody.
good option because
And-
then you set up potentially Samoa Joe and Daniel Bryan, or if AJ Styles does win, you continue it a little bit. I think that's a fair option.
It just at this point,
1-2. Mine's the best, the odds-on favorite, but second favorite, Samoa
Joe.
Yeah.
It just
Do we see anybody debut that's hot? Do we see an Omega? Do we see anything crazy?
Omega's not coming to WWE.
Yeah. We see
I
the Young
think
Bucks.
I think you see Matt Riddle, which will be awesome. If you guys are wrestling fans, you will love Matt Riddle. You're going to see EC3 in this, which we've seen really nothing of EC3 lately. Otherwise, who's the big name? Who's the show stealer? The guy who
Larry Fitzgerald,
right.
from Arizona.
the guy that we're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, he made it to the Rumble. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who that big name is. I don't know who that indie darling is or who that guy that they get from another organization. I have no idea right now. It's not Omega. It's definitely is not Omega. I will 110%. It's not
Omega.
Kenny O. Unfortunately, it's not.
Who you got winning the women's Royal Rumble?
I don't know.
I think it should be the same top two. I think.
I don't know.
Really.
Yeah. I mean, Charlotte.
Yeah, exactly.
Charlotte.
Exactly.
I mean, that's kind of
Okay, so you got to go first because I got to go first last time. So
Yeah.
then I'll go the same. Number two, I think odds are my true, honest answer would be Charlotte, but I'm going to go number two, Alexa Bliss.
ooh.
So give me Alexa Bliss to win it all.
I like that. I like that.
So it gives us a chance both
Yeah.
to be fair. I think this was a Royal Rumble where the top four probably are established. You know who the top people are, and usually they get a chance. Now, it could be surprising if you want to give it to Carmella, you want to give it to somebody else. There's an opportunity to, but the top women, obviously you want to shake out to face off with the champs at Mania. So give me Alexa Bliss.
I like that. I think I like your picks better than I like my own picks, which is messed up.
Maybe give you a chance to take the lead. Maybe
we'll
start off
see.
2019 with the lead.
Yeah,
because right now, currently,
just to recap, calling the card, I have a slim margin here, 7.5 to 7 on calling the card.
all right, hit me with this week's news and notes to finish out this awesome podcast. I've liked this one.
All right, so this has been a real good one for having two dumpster fire shows with Raw and SmackDown. This has been a really good, I think, wrestling podcast. Aiden English has transitioned into an announcer role with WWE. He is now calling 205 Live. So if you guys don't watch 205 Live, you can check out Aiden English on 205 Live as your new commentator. John Cena's ankle injury. It is a storyline to keep him out of the Royal Rumble. It is believed it's due to his filming schedule. So John Cena was going to be in the Royal Rumble, and then they did this real brief thing where they announced that he's hurt and that it was due to his match, that fatal 4-way.
Corny.
That Finn Balor one.
You have him back, and then you don't have an extended
Yeah.
feud. I mean, you should have got at least 3 months out of him.
You
Damn.
probably should have.
Damn.
Again, bad booking by WWE. Gronk has shut down the talk about him joining the WWE. It's reported that Gronk wants to focus on acting when his football career is over. And if you're a sports fan, go check out the DocNJock program. It airs every single Thursday. We do not talk about this in our program, but it crosses over a little bit here because it seems as though Gronk is done after this year. I believe
It's a big dude, a lot of injuries. Yeah.
95% of me says he is walking away.
The tight end position is so tough. You're getting grounded, and you're getting hit a lot, and the dude's big.
Going
he's a
over
target.
the middle,
Oh,
it's so hard.
yes.
All right, so reports are a ton of guys in WWE want the release. The Revival have asked for the release. It's speculated on, but we have differing reports that Mike and Maria Kanellis have asked for the release. As you mentioned earlier, Dolph Ziggler was offered a contract from WWE, but turned it down. It's also reported that Andrade Cien Almas is very unhappy and has told guys like Rush, who is the leader of Los Ingobernables, not the New Japan faction, but I think it's the CMLL faction, has told him to stay away. Just stay away. Also, Dragon Lee, he told him to stay away from WWE. It is also speculated that Sasha Banks wants her release as well. She's very unhappy in the back. So don't be surprised if you start hearing or seeing people want the release.
It makes sense because if you're not over in 3 years, start new because you're probably going to be over in AEW
Exactly.
pretty quickly.
Exactly. And that's the thing, too. So now AEW is fresh on the scene. Like, everybody looks at ROH as being just this smaller indie faction, when, in fact, ROH is probably the second biggest United States promotion, right?
And you have the biggest insiders, too, because Cody was there.
Yeah.
He was Stardust, for Christ's sake. So he said it in a release, too. He said, look, if I've recruited you, if we're going to invest in you, we are not going to micromanage you. There's going to be some tweaking, obviously some coaching, but we are not going to do, in essence, he said it without actually saying it, we are not going to WWE you.
Yes.
We are not going to just tell you what to say, how to say it, what moves to do. We're not going to micromanage the talent. And I think that's the biggest problem is the talent that's not over are upset because, you know, a character like Sasha Banks is now, she worked her ass off and is automatically now third.
Yeah.
She should be first, probably, or second, but now the spotlight was shined on Ronda for business purposes. You got characters that are like, maybe like an Andrade that are like, dude, I'm legit. I can have matches like I had with Rey Mysterio every week. If you don't shine the light on me, it's not going to happen. So if you go to AEW, you will probably be treated differently and you'll probably be happier with a little bit more money in your pocket. So I think that it's going to be great to see who goes over because once they start, it's going to be a war. It's going to be great.
Yeah. That's the thing too. There's so much more money to be made as well,
and
because
it'll make WWE better if these guys leave because then they'll say, "Oh wow, if we're not making these guys happy, we got to pay more attention to it." They're leaving to a different promotion with money.
I mean, well, at least that's the hope, right?
They have to. They can't just double down on it. I hope they don't.
That's the hope. Is that there's more money and everybody does a better job. That WWE figures it out, and we have a revival of the Monday Night Wars.
That'd be great.
It would be awesome. It's not going to be a Monday Night War because
for a year or two at
yeah,
least. But it'd just be fun to see some new stories, some fresh
just
storylines.
something. Competition is supposed to breed the best.
Yes.
And we're hoping that AEW can now push and maybe AEW takes over as the number 2 United States wrestling promotion. But
It's fresh, it's new, it's different. Because right now, I think within the realm of what we're talking about, WWE is formulaic. and we are reacting to a lot of things that we think we know about. But in terms of intrigue, in terms of excitement, you were only getting it maybe like a handful of times a year.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate. Maybe with the move to Friday, it'll bring some new passion. But right now, WWE is formulaic, and basically it's like, well, we're printing cash. We're going to keep doing the same kind of things over and over. And when you do all these shows, you just unfortunately get scenarios where a Monday Night Raw is bad because you've had house shows Saturday, Sunday, and now you get to Monday and you're getting all these pre-produced packages that aren't that good. So I think AEW is going to help out WWE if it's done properly, and that's the hope.
Yeah, I agree. Again, want a better product with WWE. I can't wait for AEW. I think it's going to set the world on fire. I think it's going to be awesome, man.
I want to thank those that support this project as well. Definitely support the Breaking Down the Ring podcast. They're having a great event, a Royal Rumble watching party. Go check out their social media at BDRcast for all the info. If you want to go watch the Royal Rumble with a bunch of wrestling fans, check out Mikey and the crew. They air live every single Wednesday on the Podcast Detroit platform. Again, that's Breaking Down the Ring at BDRcast. They air every Wednesday night, 9:15. They do a great job. A lot of insight, a lot of great predictions, a fun, inappropriate wrestling podcast. And as always, support Dennis Farrell and the Wrestling Perspective Show. It airs nationally on Friday nights. You can check out Dennis and his work at Dennis77 Farrell. He hosts the Wrestling Perspective with PD Williams, and you can go check out everything related to Dennis at his website, WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. Can't wait to see what happens and how the Royal Rumble shakes out. We'll be back next week, next Friday, with all the reactions, all the news, all the breaking stuff, the competition, who came out on top. I can't wait. Thank you so much for downloading the latest edition of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.